All right, so what I'm trying to do is remove the grill so I can replace the broken headlight assembly over there. And what had happened is a previous accident or a deer or something in the past, you can see the metal bumper is pushed up against that clip right there. So that's not allowing the grill clip to come out. So I gotta pull the bumper out, kind of fix it from that accident, and then I'll be able to pull that clip out that'll allow the bumper to move forward. I mean, the grill to move forward. So, nice little old trick, okay? You don't have good strong anchor points in your garage, you don't get much stronger than a tree. Just hook up a ratchet strap, voila. Let's see this. Now you gotta make sure you hook it up where it ain't gonna pop you in the face. Man, as soon as I start clicking on it, oh, it's already pulling. Okay, I need both hands, but if we look in here, oh yeah, it's already pulling it off the, it's already moved a little bit. See, it was shoved all the way against the plastic, and now it's got, you can see like a little 1/8 of an inch or so right to the right of that hole. You can see that it's actually moved back a little, so I'm gonna work on this. Now, one thing I found that works really well when you're doing this is put some good tension on it, but then put your foot up on it and watch that thing. I mean, it gives it good movement when you do that. Then tighten it again. And look, I've already pulled the bumper off that clip. I could probably pull the grill off now. Yeah, we've made a big difference. So you could actually work at this and straighten a lot of this bumper that way. I mean, it really needs to be replaced. The right way to do this is straighten the brackets like on the frame or whatever. Replace the bumper, the bottom valence, all that stuff, which I'm gonna eventually do. The grill will need to be replaced too. But for today, I'm just trying to get the headlight changed. So there you go. All right, so I got the grill off. So what I'm basically doing is, you can see the old headlight was broken from like, see how the tabs are broken off, pretty much all of them. This side hit a deer at one point, so here's the new light that I ordered. See, it's got the bolt holes, the tabs are there. And he had to pull the grill off, but because of, you know, mild accident on the driver's side, deer impact on the passenger side, there's probably a list of like 20 parts I need to order to fix this right. Like the bottom plastic piece, I'm gonna order a new bumper, the chrome trim piece on top of the bumper. But with that too, there's brackets that need to be straightened. You know, I gotta straighten this bracket, it's crooked. It was actually like bent in. I've already done like half the body work on this thing. This was bent in quite a bit. You can see here this bracket's still a little bent, but I'm gonna work on it a little bit before I throw that light on. Probably use a stud welder to pull this part out and just get it close. You know, obviously it has to be repainted to be fixed right, but that's what we're doing. Fun, fun, fun. I'm gonna put this like wooden block in here so you don't damage the back as much as the metal would. Slide hammer here. See how that works? Pulls it out and I can straighten the bracket with some pliers or whatever. And again, I'm not really doing like, I'm not doing a crazy like perfect fix on it, but I'm gonna do it to where it at least can be repaired in the future if I want to go back and repaint the fender or whatever. I'm gonna try and get it fairly straight so that when I put everything back together, it goes back together right. It's a big part of it. So that's what we're doing. We actually need to pull on this a little bit more. And everything isn't always about big impact. Sometimes you need soft hits. There we go. Straighten it out a bit. Ouch. That wasn't a very good grip. So yeah, if you ever wonder why body work and stuff, repairs cost a lot, because nothing is ever easy. especially if there was a little bit of an impact. You're gonna have a lot of trouble getting old clips out and bolts out, and then you straighten everything just so it goes back together straight. You know, it's a lot of work. It's always a process. This bracket down here was actually bent a lot too. It was the grill bracket, but I've already straightened that one out. So I'm gonna have to order some new clips because one of the clips broke in here. But it's all good, no big deal. So yeah, I think I've got this fairly straight back to like normal on the outside. This part out here is just gonna have to be pulled with a stud gun, which maybe I'll do that real quick. I might as well while it's right here. So what I'm gonna have to do is grind a little bit of paint off of here, and that's gonna allow the metal contact with the stud gun. I'll show you that in a minute. What it is, it's like a little welding thing, and it uses resistance welding. So there's an outer cup that's grounded to the metal, and then there's an inner pin that's the positive. And when that thing, I hit the trigger, it heats up, it welds the pin to the body, and then I can put a slide hammer on that pin and yank out the dent. Usually you got to do it in a few different places. It takes, you know, sometimes it takes 20 or 30 of them, so it really just depends. I'm just gonna get it where it's close. I'm not trying to get it perfect because, of course, you got to use some Bondo and stuff like that on this. Let me put a couple down here. Now, you don't want to overuse this thing because it'll grind through the metal and you don't want to take off a lot of metal. I'm just trying to knock down the paint a little bit. Okay, so what I'm doing with this is sanding a little bit more paint off. I think I'm going to have to get a new sanding pad because this is pretty junked. See if we can get some good metal contact here. So I have my stud welding gun. This is cool. Love this tool. Got a bunch of these little stud pins that weld to the surface, and then this is the hammer that pulls on it. I'll show you this. So what happens is this pin gets welded to the body inside and it's sticking off. Then you take this little slide hammer, goes in the hole, and you're able to tighten this. It's like a clamp, so you tighten it up and it pulls. When I use this as a slide hammer, it'll pull the dent out, and even though, you know, you're through the paint and all that, you end up having to, obviously, you're going to be repainted anyway. That's the kind of stuff you do. Well, let's give it a go. It's been a while since I used the stud gun. It heats up red hot when it grounds out. It's pretty cool. So now the stud's welded on there, and it might pop off because I don't know if I heated it up enough. There we go. Okay. Now you got to do this in a few places sometimes. You can hear it, like something's being shocked. Then you just cut these little pins off. Let me bring you a little closer. See what's going on here. All right. Let's try and pull a little bit from down here. basically how you kind of work the dents out. Now this one is a really tight kind of crease, and I'm not completely sure if I have the bottom as straight as it should be because the bumper's so off, there's no way to compare. So it's really just gonna be, I'm gonna have to like perfect it when I get all the new parts and get the new bumper and I can fit it up there. But for now, I'm just gonna get it a little better than it was and throw some white spray paint over it to keep it from rusting. I got a bunch of new clear coat today, so I can paint all kinds of stuff now. That was an expensive bill, but as automotive paint is expensive anyway. Let's put one up here. So you can hear the paint on the back side when it's sizzling. Now hopefully those two will pull out quite a bit of this on the top and bottom, and then I'll just save the rest of it for another day. But oh yeah, see that one popped off. Sometimes that's okay because if you don't need it anymore. Oh. Okay, good enough. I got a few pulls out of it down here. Now what this is also going to do is as you straighten that, it's going to allow me to straighten all the rest of it a little better because things are just so off. You get one thing done, it helps you straighten another. You straighten that one a little, you go back to the other. It all just kind of, sometimes you're moving it out together gradually. What I do want to do is try and get this bracket back where it makes sense again. And see, it feels like it's trying to relax back into its normal position, so that's good. Cool. All right, I'm gonna grind these studs off here and get the light put back on. Try to finish up this little project for today. Sometimes you can break these off, but not always. Oh yeah, there we go. It's kind of cool how that works. I'm sure they designed it to, there's probably some trick that I don't even know. Kind of twist those off. And really you don't want it to put a hole in the metal because that kind of sucks. Then you have to weld the hole up to keep moisture from getting to the back of the Bondo. This becomes a little more, but this is totally cool. All right, good. So I'll end up chunking a little spray paint on that when I'm all done. I think for now I'm gonna see if I can at least get the new headlight to bolt in or remotely fit. So let's see how it goes. Check the wiring plug, make sure that works.
Wiring's good. Let's see, I get all the bolts out. Seems like this thing just kind of hooks back here, I guess. Yep.
So what I'm experiencing is something is still quite a bit out of whack. It seems like this bracket is pushed in, which is totally expected from having a couple accidents. There's a bracket on top. Let me see if I can. So what I want to do, see how this bracket is a little far back. I have to push the light to get it to work. And if I push it, it's gonna make it stick out further. Now I may not have this completely pulled, and that's fine. But what I wanna know is if I need to pull this front support a little bit, which if we look at it, I like to compare. So where the headlight bolts on this side, it looks like there's about, I don't know, maybe half an inch from here to there. And if I look on this side, I mean, it looks about the same, but it's still kind of hard to tell. I feel like, yeah, I feel like looking at it from here and then looking straight over at the other side, right here, it looks like this side is definitely out. So I'm gonna try and pull from in here just a tad, a little bit, not a lot though, because there's like a big structure there. So it would be a lot to try and really move it. But from hitting a deer, it's totally possible that it did that. Now to figure out where to pull it from, I think I see. Okay, if anything, looks like it moved a little. Let's see what it looks like when I try to pick a bolt in. Okay, that already feels like it fits a little better. I think I'm totally cool with that. I'll just have to see how the light fits, and then I'll come back later and fix the fender to kind of match. And it looks like, yeah, it's definitely a bit out of whack. I mean, I don't know, I could try to pull it a little bit more. Could definitely fit better. Yeah, I'm gonna pull on it a tad bit more. Let's get this. But the fact that I yanked this out a bit might have kind of relaxed something somewhere, so it might work a little bit better than it did earlier. And it could be that this inner area is also pushed in a bit. So there's a lot of factors here that are going to kind of weigh in on how it works. That looks better already. We put a little bit of impact up here. Get the top out some. See if that did any good. Okay, so we're better up here, down there, and it looks like it's a little closer here. I need to get this area to come out, and I could see that. I could see that it's kind of bent in there. Where's the screw hole? Yeah, so this thing needs to fit about like this, and okay, I'm really close. I've got it to where the light will sit under there and the screw hole pretty much lines up. I just need to pull it out a little bit more and keep from making a mess with all my studs here. Okay. It'd be so nice to have this light back in place. The old light was just really bugging me. It looked terrible the way it was. It looked terrible the way that it was like moving around and all loose, and at night I sometimes see the light going upward, and I'm like, oh yeah, it needs to be fixed. So let's see, I'm gonna try and straighten the top a bit, but I'm gonna put the hammer in there without the wood block because I need it to concentrate some impact like right here. And I'm gonna try not to overdo this. Just literally like right up here. Sometimes you have to overdo it a little, like I've created a high spot, and then you ping that back down with a body hammer. And that's sometimes the only way you can get these tough areas to bend out. Now we're getting it. Maybe a little bit more down here. I'll be fairly happy with at least the temporary fix. And I mean, all in all, a lot of people would say, you know, replace the fender, but this is repairable. I mean, at least for a, you know, when you're not going for perfection, it's not going to be a certified pre-owned sale or something. So this will be totally fine. now, if the pins will go in the little holes, that's probably about as close as we're gonna get for now. I think I can live with that. So what I do is I put some tape on the head of the bolt, and when I put it in the socket, it's gonna fit tighter, and the tape kind of helps hold that bolt. So when you're going to a hard to reach area, the bolt won't fall out. You get it started and then it's good. Who cares about the tape?
Oh. She's in. The tape is still there, but you know what? I can't get it.
See, I fix things right eventually. Sometimes you just need a temporary fix. But the body work I'll end up doing whenever I get a chance. All I want to do is clean this off a bit. I'm gonna throw a little bit of paint on there so it doesn't rust. Now, even for this little temporary repair, I'm gonna use etching primer for going over the bare metal. Now, this is a product I actually use when I'm doing a real, paint, whatever. When I'm touching something up with actual automotive paint, I still use this etching primer over bare metal, because even the pro brands like come in a spray can, and it's when you're just touching up small bare metal areas, you can still use the good automotive paint on top of it. It's just meant to eat into the metal. It bonds in real good and it protects the metal from, moisture and things getting through, causing it to rust. Actually, I still have plastic on this light, so I'm not too worried about masking that. I think I just kind of want to cover up a little bit down here so I don't get crap on the tire or whatnot. And this is just a very, like I said, temporary kind of, you could say half-ass. I mean, that's what it is for now. Just enough to get it inspected, keep me on the road.
My other car is actually down at the moment, waiting on a drive shaft piece. I think that's what it is. I got a pretty good idea that the drive shaft U-joint went out this morning when I was driving. So I'm gonna get in there and check that out next.
It's just that for now I want to get the truck inspected so that when I'm driving it around, I'm not out of reg. And a lot of times you don't want to put tape on the body, because then you cause these lines. Like when you go back to paint it later, you got these lines that you have to sand out, and it's not like I'm really going to put a ton of spray paint on here, but I'm just going, a little bit. So this is a Krylon, just some paint plus primer. It's also got a primer to build a little bit. The more material that goes over this for now, the better it's going to protect from possible rust. And I just don't want it to rust. I mean, the metal rusts out quick when it can. So I get the little etching primer on there. Usually one coat, really thin, does it. Maybe a second pass, but just the bare metal is all it needs. And this stuff dries in like probably 1 minute or less. It's really quick. It's so thin. I'm sure that Chevrolet paint code has blue and all kinds of other crap mixed in it, so it's not going to match the spray can, but it's all good. Oh yeah, the spray can white's like super bright. I probably should tape up my little seal. Like, usually you need to mask everything, but the plastic covering the head lens that comes for shipping, it's not covering this little black weather seal, and I don't want that black seal to be painted, because then that looks kind of crappy.
A little bare metal up here.
And we'll come back to this at a later day and do the whole body work process.
I get this old broken clip out of here. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's amazing how quick you can pull out a bunch of stuff, but then it feels like it takes forever to clean up the mess. There we go.
Probably go ahead and throw the grill back on.
Hopefully it clips into place.
if I can bring this other bracket up a tad, that's gonna help me a lot. This one is hard to get back in place for whatever reason.
It's just kind of badly out of whack.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Get the grill put back on. And then a little plastic shroud on top. My beam is working. Just pops into place with a bunch of clips. What's kind of nice about these clips is if you push them all into place first, it really positions it exactly where it needs to be. It's not like you're tightening up two bolts or trying to leave all your fasteners just barely loose so you can move it to get the last bolt in. So that's kind of nice, you know. You can stick all these plastic clips in as long as they go in place. Then you can end up putting in a little push button. And then they're tight. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, sometimes they're a pain. Usually a pain to get out in some cases. This one's being a pain to put in for whatever reason, now that I said something. I believe hold it in place. Alright, so did a nice little temporary fix. Of course I've got focus. Alright, nice little temporary fix. Of course I need to order a new plastic piece there at the bottom. I had to order the whole bumper, but I know that. The whole bumper, the plastic piece, all that junk. Cool. Go ahead and take this plastic off. Ooh, shiny brand new light. Now we go get it inspected.
Now for those of you who are into all kinds of different DIYs, I found a really cool link for a smart saw that apparently you can build at home. Shows you can build all kinds of different things out of it. Check out the link in the description if you're interested. Thanks a lot, you guys, and see you on the next one.